Chapter 14. In the Hospital. Nate opened his eyes slowly and looked around. The room was all white. Sun was pouring in the window. His mom was sleeping in an armchair near the bed. He was incredibly thirsty. There was a table that stuck out over the bed with a glass filled with ice and water on top. It looked so good. He reached for it, but his muscles weren't working too well, and he missed. The glass tipped and spilled all over his mom. She leapt up with a surprised shout, then saw Nate was awake and scooped him into a huge hug. "Oh, Nate, I've been so worried. What in the world were you doing? I should be grounding you for the rest of... Oh, never mind. I'm so glad you're okay." She held him out at arm's length and looked carefully at him. "You are okay, aren't you?" It had been a long time since he had let her hug him, but after all that had happened, it felt good. He hugged her back. "Yeah, I'm okay now. Where's Dad?" She straightened up and tried not to show it, but he saw the anger in her eyes. "He said he had a big presentation and that he would call you afterward." Nate nodded slowly. He suddenly understood what had been going on during the past year. "That's why we came here, isn't it? He doesn't really want..." She didn't answer at first. Then she nodded, blinking back tears. "I'm sorry, Nate. I thought it was better for us to come here, that things would be better if we didn't have to face..." She gestured at the lack of his dad. Nate said quietly, "We're not going back, are we?" She shook her head. "I don't think so." Nate nodded again and looked at her. He thought about Beckett and the house and being there, and something clicked into place. "You know, Mom, that's okay. I think Beckett is going to work out for us." His mom smiled and reached out and stroked his hair. "I was mad. Then I was scared. I was afraid I'd lost you. I didn't know where you..." She couldn't go on. Nate asked, "How did they find me?" His mom smiled, brushing away her tears. "It was amazing. The police and all the workers were at the dam, but Misty walked all the way to the art center across from the library." "The bell," Nate said. "She rang the bell." His mom's eyes widened. "How did you..." "I didn't even know there was a bell. Most people didn't, but the police chief remembered it from when he was young. He sent someone down to see what was going on, and there she was, holding onto that rope and pulling it with all her might." Nate laughed. "She's great. Even in that storm, for her to do that." "She told them where to find me?" "Yes. She said you fell in and she was certain you would be at the end of the brook. The firemen went down there and you were right where she said." "And what about the skeleton?" His mom looked at him more closely. "How did you know about that?" "I heard something before I passed out." "So did you find it all? Did she get buried?" "How did you know it was a girl?" Nate shrugged. "I don't know. I just kind of thought it was. They actually don't know who it was, but she must have been swept away in the 1922 flood, the same as what happened to you. She just wasn't so lucky." "Did they bury her?" "Not yet. They're going to bury her at the same time as..." His mom paused. Nate froze. "At the same time as who, Mom?" Nate's mom sighed. "As Misty." She squeezed his hand. "Nate, Misty didn't make it. Well, once she told the firemen. They say it was a massive heart attack. There was nothing anyone could do." Nate was stunned. "Wait, she's dead?" His mom nodded. "The funeral is this afternoon. The whole town is coming. Actually, a lot more people than that. You see, the news picked up the story, the flood, you falling in, her saving your life. People from all over the country are coming. The governor is coming. It will be the biggest thing the town has ever seen." Nate shook his head, trying to make sense of it. "I have to go to the funeral, Mom." "No, honey. You're not ready to get out of the hospital yet. You've been unconscious for 2 days. The doctors say you are doing well, but it will be another couple of days before you can come home. No, I want to go. Nate pushed the covers back and sat up. Dizziness swirled. His head pounded and he fell back. His mom brushed his head back from his forehead. I know you want to go, sweetie, but you just can't. When you get out, you can go up there and say goodbye. What about her cats? Is someone watching them? Everyone in town is pitching in. They've been feeding her cats. They've been coming by our house, too. We're finally part of the town. Why, just about everyone at school has called or come by. You're going to have a busy schedule once you're home, getting together with all your new friends. She paused and looked at him. If you'll let them be your friends. Nate, the people in this town and the kids in the school really want us to be part of Beckett. Nate looked up at his mom and thought about it. He nodded. I think you're right. I'm okay with staying here. Suddenly very tired, he lay his head back. Mom, I think I need to take a nap now. She smiled and leaned over and kissed his cheek. That's good. You get some rest. He opened his eyes. Will you be here when I wake up? Oh, honey, I'll always be here. If you don't see me, just call, and I'll come running. Nate nodded and let his eyes close again.